Amazing. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Ask Her Anything series. I'm Connie Cay-Santos, founder of Her Seat at the Table in K7 Inc., and I'm truly grateful you've chosen to spend your time here with us today, or if you're watching on demand, you're welcome here as well. This space was created to honor leaders who are navigating growth, transition, reinvention, and forward momentum. And today's conversation is about something that often becomes a turning point in that journey: coaching. Not coaching as a trend, not coaching as a luxury, but coaching as a strategic investment in who you are becoming. So today is about looking forward with intention. It's about asking three really important questions, which is, who am I becoming next? What should I do? And what do I need? And how do I choose it wisely? So today is Ask Her Anything series, and it's experiential by design. You will not just hear from our speakers, you will feel the difference in their coaching styles as well. You will reflect, you will engage, and we welcome you to really be intentional about creating this as a high impact, intimate experience, because transformation does not happen in passive listening. It happens in participation. So we really welcome you to participate. And today we have three core themes that we're going to jump into as well. They're all distinctly unique, which is clarity, courage, and purpose. And my invitation to you is simple. Just stay curious about what resonates most to you. And all of our speakers, if time runs out, don't worry. We're here to support you. We will extend the time if needed, if you have any burning questions that we weren't able to ask, but we welcome you to participate fully and ask the questions as we continue as well. All right, so introductions. I want to formally introduce the three leaders who are stewarding this space with us today. Each of them bring a distinct philosophy, a lived experience, and coaching lens. And what I deeply respect from all three of them is this: they do not coach from ego. They coach from service. So I'm going to start with Liz Boyle-Harmer. Liz is a PCC and CPCC certified executive coach, facilitator, and speaker who partners with mid to senior level leaders navigating complexity, transition, and growth. Liz is known for her embodied, inside out approach to leadership. She helps leaders strengthen presence, resilience, and trust so they can lead with clarity and confidence without sacrificing well-being. That's an important one. Do not sacrifice your well-being. And Liz does not separate performance from humanity. She integrates them. Next, we also have the wonderful Nancy Abdallah. Nancy is the founder and principal consultant of Weaver Plus, where she helps organizations bridge strategy execution by providing the level of leadership, flexibility, talent, and also tools to move strategic innovations and initiatives forward. She's also the creator of Pivot Queen, a creative-led space exploring bold pivots, messy middles, and the courage to choose yourself. Nancy brings both strategic sharpness and emotional honesty into her coaching. She understands the tension between responsibility and reinvention. And last but not least, our good friend Jim Huling is here. He is an executive coach, global thought leader, and a co-author of the Four Disciplines of Execution, which is a #1 worldwide bestseller translated into 16 languages. Jim, I wonder if you know how to speak those 16 languages yourself. That's very impressive. And with decades of experience coaching senior executives and leadership teams across industry, Jim brings a deeply practical and purpose-driven approach to helping leaders execute strategy, build high-performing cultures, and lead with clarity and integrity. Jim brings vision and discipline action. So a round of applause to all three of our wonderful speakers and our experts here today. Now, as a tradition, if you haven't been to our Ask Her Anything series in the past, I always start with this question. And to our speakers, I'm going to ask you this: what does your seat look like as a coach? And please share what have a seat at the table means to you in your lived experience. So I'm going to start with Liz. I'd love to begin with you.
Thank you. Thank you, Connie, for that introduction and for having us all here for this conversation. Grateful to be here. What does my seat look like as a coach? Like, why did I start coaching? I'll start with when I was very young, I was one of those annoying kids who I would always go to my mom and I'd ask, like, what's the purpose of being here? Like, why are we here? I wanted to know that question. And so I was raised Catholic. So the answer was to get into heaven. That's why we're here. So you can get into heaven. And that didn't really make sense to me because I was like, we're here on this planet in this lifetime. Like, there's got to be something more meaningful, right? Like, how do we find meaning in this lifetime here? And so that question always kind of sat with me. And I wasn't getting, my mom's a wonderful mom, but she wasn't giving me all the answers I needed. So I started to really just explore, like, what helps us create a meaningful life. I think I looked at my mom and then I also looked at my dad. And what I saw in my dad was someone who had a lot of potential and a lot of good intention and wasn't always able to lead himself in that way. And so what I really noticed was this gap in potential. And that really frustrated me. First of all, because I was on the receiving end of some of that gap, but also secondly, because I recognized it in myself. There was this vision of who I could be and this misalignment with how I was actually leading myself in my day to day. And so this question of like purpose and potential, how do we get to meaning? How do we become the person that can actually achieve that meaning is something that I just started to obsess with and still obsessed with to that day. And if you are obsessed with those questions, coaching is 100% the place for you to spend time trying to figure that out. Like that is what coaches do. So that's why I got into coaching. I'm continuously trying to learn and solve that problem of connecting people with a meaningful life and helping them become the person who's capable of achieving that. And for me, what I bumped up against is that the body plays a role in being able to figure that out. So, this question of what's a meaningful life, a lot of times people go to their head, right? What makes sense? What's logical? What's the pro and con list I can do to figure this out? And the brain has information, but it's not fully equipped to answer that question of what is meaningful to me, right? That's like, what do I care about? What inspires me? What do I long for? And every single one of those, there's an emotional tone. Our body has to get involved. And so your body has information for you around this question of what do I long for? What do I want to reach for? In terms of like, how do you stay on that path of going after it? The body also plays a role as well. Our nervous system is actually designed to keep us in the world that we know. That is what's safe. And so, in every way, our reactivities are going to keep us in that world. And so, really learning how to work skillfully with the body so we can ungrip ourselves from the patterns of the past and start to embody the ways of being that will take us to our future is, in my view, a part of coaching as well.
That's a beautiful view, and thank you for sharing how you got your seat at the table as a coach as well. Nancy, I would love to hear from you as well about your seat.
Just unmuting myself here. Liz, that was wonderful. And, similar to Liz, I often find myself pondering, not just like the broader meaning of life, but like my place in it, what I want. And there's been always like a tension between what I want and then like what's expected of me. And so for me, my relationship with coaching really started when I was trying to answer my own questions. Because what was expected of me was something I really truly didn't want. I came from a very traditional Middle Eastern family, and then we immigrated to Canada. And so that story in itself has a lot of impact on your growth as a child and how you see your place and your responsibility, your sense of duty. So I've always put my sense of duty ahead of my desires. But they're always in the background, sort of like whispering. And then back to what Liz was saying about listening to your body for clues, I would say for a large part of my life, I was like just putting that aside and not listening. And it was when at some point, then that friction became too big, that tension became too big to avoid, to ignore. where I started to go deeper and I started to ask myself these questions. I embraced coaching myself in a variety of ways. I've done all kinds of different coaching from going to the gym and regularly just to sort of feel good, thinking that might be like an unlock, changing environments, thinking that might be a part of the problem. So I'm one of those people who follows curiosity a lot and look to sort of listen to the whispers and try to follow them where they might lead. But I'm always kind of looking for the depth in the answers, and trying different methods to get there. And so I would say for most of you on this call, I'm only a few steps ahead of you. And it's really been through my own journey with coaching that I found my love for it. And it was through sharing my story. I was in community spaces much like this one, um, with other women, especially, where I started to sort of see myself again and started to notice patterns of how I was showing up and having myself kind of reflected back to me through my peers and the people around me. And it was also through starting to listen to my body, listen to and trust what I was feeling and trust that what I wanted was okay, and start to separate that a little bit from what was, or find the path, not separate, but find the path between what I want and what's expected of me. For me, almost every outcome I end up going with is generally the path in between. It's not one or the other. There's been some sort of compromise, taking a little bit from this and taking a little bit of that and being okay with like a step in the right direction, even if it's not all the way. Because, some of us do you can't just like blow up your life all the time and go live in Bali, although I would love to. Sometimes you have to find the path in between. And I think that's kind of what's really led me here. And it was through my own coaching experience that I found my love for it.
Such a powerful story. And I think there's also that risk, right? Like, do I do it? How dangerous is it? What's going to impact my life? So thank you, Nancy, very much for being very honest of where you are in your stage, how you found the coaching experience and becoming a coach. Thank you, Nancy. Now, Jim, my dear friend, please share, what does your seat look like?
I'm finally realizing the pressure of following these great speakers ahead of me, and I'm not appreciating being last.
Sorry.
Those were wonderful statements, and I think everybody can hear this love for coaching is the common thread that's running through all of it. So thank you. Thanks for giving me a chance to be on this panel as well. Coaching to me is really simple. And I've been doing it a very long time. So maybe I'm on that place where everything has really gotten simple because I'm down to the essence of it. But for me, Connie and Nancy and everyone, it's about seeing the greatness in another person before they can see it in themselves. The ability to see it, but not only see it, it's also about staying with them until you finally get it to emerge, so you can help them bring their own greatness out into the world. I think that's really what coaching is all about. And one of the greatest joys is when you see something in another person that they don't see in themselves, but you see it so clearly, And occasionally one of my clients will say, Are you still talking about me? I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you see that joy spread across their face in that realization that maybe they do have something, they have something that's unique and beautiful and powerful to offer. It's like lighting a candle in a dark room. It changes everything about how they see the world and about how they go through their work. So that's what it really means to kind of hold the seat. I love that expression. I wish I'd invented that. As such a powerful way of framing everything, Connie. But I don't think holding the seat means giving answers. I think the lowest level of coaching is simply telling people what you would do if you were in their position. It's not only not impactful, sometimes it's the wrong advice because they're simply not you. I think coaching means adding insight rather than fixing weaknesses, if that makes sense. And I also think it means something more precious. It means holding belief, holding your belief about the person sitting across from you who maybe right at this moment isn't performing well, or Or maybe they've started to doubt themselves, or they're second guessing all their instincts. I don't know. But whatever set of circumstances has made them play smaller, that's the word I'm looking for, than they really can be, right? In those moments, that's when I love my work, because in those moments, my job is not to push them. I don't think a good coach ever pushes anybody, and it's certainly not to rescue them. But what I've found, in this year more than ever, Connie, is it's about holding steady. It's about
Mm,
being that safe space, that grounded place where a person can ask a question that they can't ask anywhere else, and they can't ask anyone else. You know the kind of question that you have to open your heart to answer. You can't answer it from your mind. Liz was talking about this just a moment ago so powerfully. And then maybe to be able to reflect back something they already know, but they had kind of forgotten. Life had pushed it out of their mind or out of their heart. I'm not sure. But I do know it's about holding a conviction that that person in front of you has more strength than they believe they do. They have more wisdom than they believe they do. They have more ability to change the world than they believe they do right at that moment. That, to me, that's what coaching is all about. And if I finish this brief statement, I'll just say I only know these things because I had to apply it to myself. I've had those same moments when a shift in my leadership didn't come from somebody else telling me what to do. It came from somebody else seeing me in a way I couldn't see myself. The old expression, you can't be what you can't see. Well, that also works in reverse. That you can't see something you don't believe you can be. You can't see it. You're blind to it. And that's what coaches do to me. Coaches open the window, they turn on the light in the room, they open to you depths of yourself that you maybe didn't think you had. And that's why I don't see coaching as improvement kinds of work. I think they're great techniques and tactics, and everybody can help us get 1% better. And I believe in all those things. Those are all great ideas. And if anybody's coaching on that, good for you. It's a way to do it. But I think the deepest coaching is when we can help another person remember who they are, help them remember what they came here to do, help them reclaim that capacity they once believed about themselves and maybe they've lost for some reason, through life or circumstance, or that someone else didn't believe them. And when that happens, performance improves by itself. Performance is the byproduct of believing in yourself. It's not just a bag of techniques and tricks that we all go away and learn. It's about learning to see ourselves in a different way. So when I think about coaching, that's what I think about. I think about seeing greatness. I think about holding it in your hands like it was this tender, precious thing, and then waiting till that moment without urgency or pushing or driving until that other person on the other side of the screen is ready to say, "You're right. That's me. I can be that. I can do that." That's what I think coaching is. And I might be a little dramatic in my portrayal of it, but I think that's why, if you'll allow me to say it in this way, I think that's why coaching is sacred work. And that's why I'm honored to be part of this great panel of wonderful coaches today, and Connie, to be with you under your guidance in putting a program like this together. So thank you for that.
Jim, Nancy, Liz, like you just made my heart glow so much, and everything that you just shared as well, Jim. Like I've been scribbling. And I'm so glad this is recorded because there's power in watching this again. If things resonated but wasn't super clear, we go back to it. But one line that I extremely love was a light in a dark room. Because you're right, sometimes we don't see ourselves clearly. We underestimate our own values and our own purpose and our own greatness. And to be able to see that greatness, and sometimes it takes someone else to see that greatness and to help us clear things up so that we can see it ourselves. It's the most powerful thing I think a coach can help us do, and to keep that momentum going as well. So thank you so much. And to everyone that's listening right now, I want to encourage you to really grab pen and paper if you need to, but it is going to be recorded. You'll all have access to the on demand. We're going to jump. Lauren, I'm going to pick on you for a second because you have your head tilted. You're thinking, I know. Feel free to jump in and share your like moments of reflections throughout the last three sessions.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because for me right now, like as as much as I am focusing on work and building my career and things, where I'm finding true joy is in my life.
Mm,
Um, so I'm like, have I felt joy like at work? Like I think of the joy I
mm,
have personally, and it's like I haven't
mm.
experienced that kind of joy in my career, but like finding other moments, and most of them have been like interactions with people. So clients, like just making other people happy.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's been like a monumental change in an
Yeah, yeah.
organization, but it's just been like those small interactions with other people that
Mhm,
have
mhm.
brought me joy in my work. So,
Yeah, I love that,
um,
Lauren. And can I,
yeah.
if I could put a thought back in your mind, it would be one of comfort, that most of what happens in the world that really changes things are the smallest possible actions. The
Hmm.
big grand gestures and the things you see on the news and all that, in the end, really don't change the world. It's the cumulative effect of a whole lot of people doing the good thing that is right there in front of them to do over and over again. That's what really changes things. And often, when I'm working with someone, I'll ask them, what's your fondest memory? If they're struggling with this topic, we just go to a happy place. What's your fondest memory? Well, their fondest memory is always something that happened with someone else. I'm almost never had a person say my fondest memory, I was all by myself and I had this thought. It's always in some kind of human interaction. So I still think the key to every hope and every dream we have is in our ability to do things together. And what you're describing is probably one of those things that's having a huge impact.
Yeah.
At the end of it all, I find people asking all the time, did I live a life that mattered? Or am I living a life that matters? This desire to not just disappear from the earth and not have made any difference. And the surest way to do that is every single day to find some way of expressing the thing you are able to express, whether it's your love or your insight or your generosity or your encouragement or your warmth with some other human being. That is indeed the way that we change the world every single day.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that.
Love it.
Sorry about that, guys. My laptop
Hey,
No
just
worries.
honked
Welcome
out. It
back.
said I'm done. And so thankfully
yeah.
I have a second one. That one turned
Yes.
on.
So, my friends, and welcome
I
back,
love that.
Nancy. We have 3 minutes left. I would love
Mm,
to maybe just do a quick round from Jim and Liz and Nancy,
mm,
like your takeaway that you want all of us to, take with us today from our sessions or
mm,
from watching on demand. And then we'll wrap up. And then for anyone that has additional
mm,
questions or want to connect with you, we will stay here and that will continue right afterwards. Okay.
mm.
All right. Let's start with Jim.
Oh, great. I don't want to follow these great speakers anyway, Connie, so that's just wonderful. Um, I would say I leave you with this last thought, and I say this a lot, so if you've heard me say it before, I apologize for the repetition. But I would leave you with the thought that joy is a valid compass. That in the work I do, which is almost always senior executives, we navigate by every compass you could imagine. How do I make the most money? How do I have the biggest title? How do I have the greatest influence? How do I have the most prosperity? We navigate to almost every compass there is except joy. So if you want to make a change in the way you're architecting your life today, just shift to saying, will this choice bring me more joy? Will this decision move me closer to joy? Will this investment yield joy? Start using joy as a compass, and you will find that it is an amazingly accurate tool to navigate all of your life by.
Love it. Thank you so much, Jim. Liz, you're next.
I love that, Jim. There's a soccer player who's Alfonso Davies. He's a very good soccer player, and he says, I play with joy. And that's the reason why he's such a good soccer
Beautiful.
player. And there's a runner, a long distance runner, same thing. I run to feel good.
Yeah.
If I don't feel good,
Yeah.
I slow down or
Mm,
I stop. And so there's actually a link between the joy and the performance as well. It
mm,
increases your
mm,
performance. I love that. Um, and I think so often, so many of us keep ourselves in suffering, actually, as well. So I think changing to joy is a wonderful, wonderful place to
mm,
be. And I'll just bottom line it and say I appreciate the discussion we've had here today, Jim and Nancy.
mm,
I learned from you and from everyone's comments as well. And I think if you're asking questions. If you're feeling like something is missing, that there's more fulfillment to be had, more impact, that there's a bigger version of you wanting to come out. I think there's lots of different ways to do that, but it's a journey worth being on, is what I would say. It's a journey worth being on. So you're not mad to be asking these questions, right? You're a human seeking meaning in the one precious life that you have on this planet. And so it's worth making time for these questions.
Thank you, Liz. And Nancy.
Ooh. Okay. I'm going to build on what both Jim and Liz said. And so, joy, I always ask myself, what am I optimizing for? Like, what is it that I am seeking? And how am I making, what's the compass for decision making? And so for me, I'm always optimizing for fun, learning, and flexibility. Those are my three things. If they sort of feed these things, then I'm like, okay, we're walking in the right direction. And so I think kind of getting clear on that, what you're optimizing for is a good compass, joy being a good one. But if you want flexibility in your life, if you want more autonomy, if you're feeling these feelings, I think getting a clear idea of what it is you are solving for or optimizing for in your life helps kind of guide where you steer. And the other word that Jim said was architect your life. And I love that word. And I saw a post the other day that said, if you don't like where you are, move. You're not a tree. And so all it takes is to decide that if you want to make a change, if you see that you want to be on a slightly different path or take a different direction, and you don't know how to get there, seeking support and guidance is a part of the process to sort of figure out how to navigate the steps to get to that next point or that part of your journey that you want to go to. So if you don't like where you are today, you can make a change, and all you have to do is just decide.
I love that. Nancy, thank you so much. And as I wrap up, I want to say, Jim, Liz, and Nancy, all three of you come from, I think, different life experiences, different coaching styles. And the reason why we had Coaching Your Future Forward was really the opportunity for our members and for our friends and colleagues that's here today and those watching to understand what is it that we're actually exploring. It's not necessarily the best coach that's out there, but it's really choosing the alignment. Coach works best when we're ready, when we're actually honest with where we are and where we want to go. And also for someone who has challenges and you want the right support. And sometimes you have to go out there and explore what type of coaching style works best and their methodologies and their theories as well. So for some of you, today may confirm you're ready to invest in a coach, and for others, it may clarify what kind of support you actually need, and one that maybe, like Jim said, it's someone who can see your greatness before you can see it for yourself, and someone that actually is continuing to be along your side, supporting you and helping you guide to those levels. And for some, it may just simply plant a seed for you to be ready in the future. With that said, thank you very much for being here. And for those of you who are live, if you'd like to stay, please do. Our coaches, our experts are here to answer any additional questions you may have. Until then, have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Connie.
All right, we're just going to end the recording.